the people that go to the Tony Awards are saying that it's a lot like a party. You don't really get a ton of that from the broadcast. Well, hey guys, thanks for joining me. It's time to sit down and put in those earbuds so as not to disturb the neighbors, because it's time for another episode of Off Book, a podcast where I talk all about Broadway and movies and TV shows and anything else that I feel like geeking out about. I'm your host, Marc Stouffer III, and today I'm going to be talking about the Tony Awards. The Tony Awards are going to be airing their 74th ceremony later this year, and what's interesting about them is that for being an award show, they're quite a divisive topic. I mean, pretty much the only people that don't have an opinion on them are the people that are outside of the theater community. But within the theater community, both people that work on Broadway and the people that are following the work done on Broadway, e.g. theater kids, pretty much everybody has an opinion. Some people say it's super great and they love watching it every year. They watch the full ceremony, they get super excited. Some people host watch parties, it's like a Super Bowl type thing. And some people absolutely hate it. And I think even within that, there are a lot of differing opinions. I've heard some people say that these people are just doing their jobs. Why do you even need an award show? There are some people that say it should only be for the creative team, so the writers and the directors and the set designers should get awards, but the actors shouldn't, because they're just doing their job and getting paid for it. So why do they need an award show? And then there's even people that say, you know, why is there an award show for Broadway at all? Broadway doesn't need an award show to begin with. Even if they deserve an award, you don't need an award show. Awards place too much emphasis on getting an award. It becomes kind of part of your title. You're a Tony-nominated actor or a Tony-winning composer, and why does that matter? And then there's the other side that says, well, the Tony Awards aren't really for us as the viewing audience. They're for the people that are on Broadway. It's a celebration of the people that are working in the theater and the community that has been created by Broadway. Lin-Manuel Miranda said in an episode of James Corden's Carpool Karaoke that you don't often think about it, but everybody on Broadway works within a couple blocks of each other, yet they hardly ever see each other. So the Tony Awards are kind of a night to go and hang out to celebrate the accomplishments other shows have done, because theater really is a loving community. Specifically on Broadway, I mean, yeah, these shows are technically competing to get people into their seats, but it's never really been a competition. It's pretty common when a new show opens on Broadway for a whole bunch of other shows that are currently running on Broadway to send them a letter on opening night, wishing them a good run. You can't wish them good luck, because that's bad luck in theater, because theaters are weird, but wishing them a successful run and showing their support. And so I think the Tony Awards are a lot like that, where, yeah, some people have been nominated, and some people haven't. Some people will win, and some people won't. But really, it's less about who wins and who doesn't, and more just coming together and having fun and celebrating Broadway. And there are other people that say that, yes, technically they're just getting an award for doing their job, but not everybody gets nominated. You're not getting an award for doing your job. You're getting an award for doing your job in a way that is better than anybody could have expected. You know, you're not going to get a Best Actor award for doing an okay job or being average. You're going to get a Tony Award because you did something above and beyond. And I think, not to mention, I think the reason that working in the arts can get you an award is that doing an above average job in the arts is fundamentally different, at least to me, than doing an above average job somewhere else. Because doing an above average job somewhere else means you sold more toasters, or you cleaned the bathrooms faster. Whereas doing an above average job on Broadway means that you are connecting with people more. You're finding a way to bring more people together and to reach more people in an emotional way that can really change them. And I think that that's something to really recognize, because not everybody can do that. There's people that just don't know how, that aren't very good at it. And so I think that to even work on Broadway is an immense award in and of itself. But I think that if you can, even within that community, do an above average job there, I think you definitely deserve some recognition. And sure, maybe having an award show is a little bit opulent, a little bit grand, but I think the reason that it has that kind of budget and that kind of showmanship is A, because it's Broadway, and the showmanship is kind of their whole deal, but also because people will watch it. You know, the reason that they're televised, the reason that they have these budgets and they hire these big name stars to host, and it is in an award show type format instead of just being a hangout session, is because people will tune in and people will watch it. However, you're also finding that over the last couple of years, the ratings for the Tony Awards on CBS are going down consistently. And I think that that's because it's made for the people that are going to the Tony Awards, which means that they're most likely not going to be watching the Tony Awards, which means that the only people that are going to be watching the Tony Awards are the theater kids who want to watch the Tony Awards and who are going to actually watch the Tony Awards instead of going and watching the clips on YouTube the next day or looking up their results the week after. And so I think what you're finding is CBS is kind of worrying.
Do we have something that we can keep doing? This has been going for 74 years, but it's not getting more popular.
Not to mention the budget is insane for this thing. I mean, they're held at Radio City Music Hall. That's expensive to book. You have to hire these big name actors to host the Tony Awards. I don't know if they get paid. I don't know how much they get paid. I've never hosted the Tony Awards, although I'm more than willing if you want to hire me. But that's a big deal. You have to hire the singers and the dancers because there's always this big song and dance number to open it, and there's generally another closing number that may or may not include dancers. And so I think that it's a big budget for the evening. And I think you're finding, especially this year, when the Tony Awards were canceled and then are going to be brought back in some sort of socially distant form, what does that look like? What does it look like without the budget and without the multi-cameras and the big song and dance numbers that you probably can't do when you're not all together in the theater and doesn't need that? Where is the line between something that's made for the Broadway community that everybody else can watch and something that is just using big names and flashing numbers to get people to try to watch? And is that okay? Today's episode is sponsored by the Jeremy Awards. Fittingly enough, we've arranged a full song and dance number for today's ad.
Hold on, did you say you were arranging a dance number?
Yeah.
In an audio format?
I did not think of that. Never mind then. You can go home. Yep. Sorry. Anyway, a lot of people know about the Tony Awards, the awards for Broadway. There's also the Oscars for film, the Oliver Award for the West End, and there are so many more. So there's one very important award show that's been missing from the line until now. Because this week's sponsor is the brand new Jeremy Awards, the first award show devoted fully to recognizing the top performers in the award show business, with categories such as Best Categories, Most Talented Host, and Most Mentions from the Media. The Jeremy Awards are designed to celebrate the wonderfully creative community that makes the award shows each and every award cycle. The first annual Jeremy Awards premieres later this fall on TBS. Check them out at www.jeremyawards.com. Back to the main programming. And so I think now what you're left with, especially in the year 2020, when the Tony Awards are doing something they've never really done before, without network, without theater, without a budget, they have to figure out what they're going to do this year. How do you make an award show that hinges so much on a budget and on a network and on this 3-hour programming without that? And I think that, I don't know what they're doing. They're not going to be airing on CBS. They don't have a budget. They're doing something socially distant. I don't know what that is. But I think that if I were put in charge of creating the Tony Awards this year, I would try to find a way to capture the same essence, but maybe without all the flashy song and dance numbers. Not that there can't be song and dance numbers, but I think that what you find is that the people that go to the Tony Awards are saying that it's a lot like a party, and that it seems like a very fun atmosphere. You go, you hang out, and you watch some performances. You go and see who won an award. People who won an award are excited. The people that didn't are excited for them. And I think that you don't really get a ton of that from the broadcast. There seem to be a lot of theatrics for the audience. And so I think you can really go in one of two ways with the Tony Awards from now on. I guess there are 3 ways. I guess you could just keep doing what you're doing, and there's not a huge audience, and that's okay, because just by its nature, there isn't going to be a huge audience. It's a theater thing, so that's immediately going to eliminate a lot of your potential audience on CBS. It's on CBS, and some people don't have CBS. It is long. It's an award show. There are a lot of things that don't really work. You could shorten it. You could say that shortening it might open up your audience a little bit, but I think that it seems so polished, and I don't mind that personally, but I know that there are a lot of people that do. And I think that if you make it more like just a fun celebration atmosphere, you have these song and dance numbers, you have these sketches, but it doesn't necessarily need to seem so hoity-toity, because that's not what theater is at its core. Theater is about some creative people being creative and touching people and connecting with people through their craft. And so I think that it'll be interesting to see this year how they try to show that without their budget, because I don't think they really need a budget, because I think that at its core, the Tony Awards are really just about being a celebration. And I think that if you find that, if you find ways to channel that, you're going to be successful, even if you don't have all the resources you have. And maybe next year, everything will be back to normal and CBS will pick up the Tony Awards again and they'll just keep doing what they're doing. And that would work fine. But I think if they can't, if CBS doesn't decide to bring it back, or if the Tony Awards decide they don't need CBS, I think that there are a lot of ways that they could try to make it seem less like an award show and more like a special event where people are just coming together to celebrate each other. Maybe it's held at Radio City Music Hall, maybe it's not. But I think that there could still be these performances, there could still be the awards being handed out, there could still be song and dance numbers, but I think that if you make it seem a little bit less like an award show and a little bit less of specifically this person won an award and this person didn't, because I think that's a lot of the complaints is this set should have won a Tony, this actor should have won a Tony, this score was way better than the one that won. And so I think that even though nobody in the community views it as a competition, I feel like it kind of becomes a competition, at least among the fans. And so I think that as long as you're going to continue airing it, it could not necessarily do away with the awards, but find a way to celebrate all the shows, even the ones that don't win, because there's a lot of focus on the ones that do win and not a lot of focus on the ones that don't. And so I think if you find a way to open that up and make it more just about a celebration, let's go behind the scenes, let's talk with some of the people, let's make it kind of like a celebration of this season of theater, and also including performances and interviews and improv type stuff and musical numbers specifically written for this, in addition to having the awards, but make it less of an award show and more of just a fun evening, a way to celebrate. So overall, I mean, I think that the Tony Awards are a very important thing for people that work on Broadway and the people that are admiring Broadway. It's a nice way to bring everybody together and celebrate what's going on. But I think that if you kind of focus more on that spirit of celebration and find a way to celebrate all of the shows and make it seem less like a quote-unquote awards show, I think that you can open up your audience a little bit more. You can probably decrease the budget a little bit more or invest more money into something that will make it into content instead of all the theatrics of it all. And I think you can create something that with or without a budget, with or without CBS, can really work to put a spotlight on all the people that do such an amazing job working in the theater every day, and then find a way to kind of inspire people to go see shows, to support the arts without making it a competition. And now, well, I had planned a big closing number, but I guess we don't get that. So this episode is over. Thank you. Next week, I'm going to be taking a look at pro shots of Broadway musicals, why they exist, why it's so hard to make them, and why I think they contribute to the theater community. So make sure you tune in for that next week. Till then, feel free to invent your own award show, and I will see you next week.